So right off, Robert and Janine, I'm thinking that an appointment in Australia where you actually have family living in Melbourne is not a bad bonus. How much is family to you? What does it mean to you?
It's always lovely to have family around. And that is, as you say, Laurie, an extra bonus for us. We have 3 sons, 2 of whom have lived in Australia since 2005. And so to be with them is just lovely, to have more opportunity to meet together. We have a lovely Australian daughter-in-law, and we're soon to have another one, a blessed wee. So, to be a part of their lives again, especially with a wedding coming up, is, it's incredible. We're very thankful.
And you've got another child still at home in New Zealand?
Yes. Our youngest son lives in Wellington in New Zealand, and of course a couple of years ago we had 3 years at home in New Zealand and really enjoyed that with him. As a family, we have spent a lot of time apart because of our international appointments. So an absolute bonus, just those things families do. Watch the rugby together, eat a meal together. Not all your communication to be through WhatsApp or whatever, but actually to be able to enjoy doing a few things together and being together is just lovely.
3 boys, Laurie, so you can imagine the fun. And now I've got these 2 gorgeous daughter-in-laws to kind of balance the books.
Fantastic. Reinforcements have arrived.
Exactly.
I can assure she has...
Patiently waiting.
She has not needed any reinforcements. 4 boys and Jay, and it's been a fairly even match.
Can you please give us an idea of how you came to faith?
So I came from a non-army family, but was dedicated in the army, and then really am the product of children's ministry and just a medium-sized suburban core, doing kids ministry well, including me, loving me, raising me, my spiritual life. Although the critical moment for me was when we were at training college, and there was a moment in time when I realised that actually my Christian faith was a great deal of head knowledge, which I believed and agreed with and had committed to, but it really hadn't got right down into the heart and changed me. And there was a very significant day there where I committed my life to the Lord in a very new way. And in some ways, I say I got saved at the training college.
Janine, is your story quite different or similar?
No, it is quite different. So my parents are now retired officers, but in a lovely little town called New Plymouth. On a Sunday morning when I was 7, sitting at the back with the lady that was just minding me, I felt the call of God on my life and wanted to go forward. And she very kindly and graciously just took me up, because obviously it was overwhelming, and I can still remember to this day that feeling of fear of walking up and making that commitment, but it was incredibly real to me as a 7-year-old. And obviously there's been much development, but yeah, I love the fact that God calls us young and speaks into our hearts and our lives when we're young.
So you said there's been lots of development. Can you just expand on that a little bit?
A real place of development was for me in my very early 30s when we worked in Zambia, and we faced situations there that were really horrendous, and I wondered sometimes where God was, and he reminded me that he was with me and I had all that I needed, and that was a very powerful time for me in my spiritual development.
You got 1 or 2, Robert, where that's come?
For us, the 10 years in Africa really shaped us, and just the living of life in a different culture, learning a different way of thinking, approaching life, approaching family, approaching faith, thinking about your relationship with God. Even the style of worship, was very formative for us. And the other thing is just, as the Word of God says, it's the ongoing challenges of life, that we all face and we respond to. But as Christians, our growth and development is all about His Word and His Spirit in us, and how we respond to those pressures, disappointments, losses, challenges. difficulties that we face. And, you know, it's that day-by-day growth. Yes, significant moments along the way, but just really a steady development. Although for me, quite practical. You know, prayer for me is very much absorbed in the day-to-day routine, and it's the interaction with life, and God is there, and God challenges us and changes us in the midst of all of those situations. And when you're in a different culture, of course, that's the focus is brought more significantly on that.
Yeah. And how about your own prayer life?
It's all the time. You know, for me, it's something that's absolutely constant, whatever you're doing, wherever you are, whatever you're involved in. I think it's also really helpful to have times of when you really concentrate on prayer. So I find that sometimes difficult because I'm not I don't like a lot of solitude. So that's something I've had to work on.
Yeah.
I wouldn't, you know, to go to a retreat for 3 days and not speak would be extremely difficult for me. But I appreciate, you know, we are all different, and that's how God has made us.
Yeah.
And we need to connect with Him through the means that are available to us, and they speak to us.